And welcome to space, spaced out viewers. You've got a ton of stuff to cover, a ridiculous amount of stuff. We have 97 tabs open, and we have to make a second video because there's simply too much stuff happening at the same time to cover it in one video and get the stuff up in a timely fashion. So let's look at the sun here at the southern portion, 171 angstroms view. You see this active region, which is kind of has degraded. It's kind of in a state of flux a little bit, but nothing too exciting going on there. What is exciting is there's a plasma plume in this region down here in the southeast. Here's a view from the stereo A coronagraph, and you can see this plume coming out of the southern portion of the sun right here. Could be a coronal mass ejection building, but that's something to keep an eye on throughout the rest of the day. When I say eye on, well, you know what I mean. Anyway, excuse me. So here's a 193 angstrom view, and we do see this large coronal hole, but we're going to keep focusing on the southern portion of the sun, as there is this area down here looks a little bit hazy, and this is a little bit counterintuitive because it's kind of difficult to see the plasma unless you have a side view or something like that, right? So let's talk about more stuff, as again, too many tabs open to cover all the stuff that we want to cover and will cover throughout the day today. So there'll be a second video, most assured. I apologize for keep promising second videos and not making one. Today's word from Merriam-Webster, and I'm not going to read from the home tome. I'm not going to read from the home tome today, but
blacksmith.
And let's talk about some serious blacksmiths here. The Sapphire Project. Are you familiar with the plasma experiments and the transmutations and so on, and the implications for physics, astrophysics, and human technology, energy production, etc. at the Sapphire Project? Oh, check it out. We left links in the description. Let's get back to data, as there's still tons of stories to cover. X-ray flux totally flatlined, nothing to really mention there. We do see a forecast for a coronal hole wind stream expected to arrive late on the 21st, according to this Enlil prediction. And I can only keep track of so much stuff, folks. I have no comment on that, except that's the prediction. Here's Alaska C3, and there is a bit of plasma, but nothing to write home about there. And the real-time solar wind, phi angles up high in the 300s. That's degrees, by the way. BT/BZ are both well in the positives, so pretty strong total field there, represented as the black line showing, I don't know, around 3.5, and that's nanotesla if you're wondering what the units are. Solar wind density currently at 2.64 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 337. It's been ramping down moderately over the past 24-hour period. Now, I'm sure most of our viewers will not be surprised about the vibrations up in the bow shock region. Check out this little demonstration here. I'm going to play about 1.5 seconds at a time due to fair use. Anyway, here's a audible representation of what the bow shock region sounds like during normal solar weather, like now. I know, it's freaking crazy, right? Totally insane. Here's what it sounds like during a solar storm. So check out that article and listen to the whole thing. Somehow, I feel like this is going to appear in an upcoming song. What do you say? As there is some new music in the works. And if you want to read about the mission that's gathered the data on this particular thing, check out the cluster mission here at ESA. We've linked to that also. And there's the ACE data. And here's the area where that goes on, right out underneath my pointer here. We're talking about the area at the kind of the edge of the magnetosphere, the sun-facing edge, the bow shock, whatever you want to call it. Here's the 4 hours of pressure, courtesy University of Michigan. And here's the geospace ground magnetic perturbations. Not a lot going on there, as there's not a lot of induced current, as there's not a lot of protons. I won't go any more in depth into it than that. Although we are still looking to do a video about the generation of the Earth's dynamo. So there's an invitation to people like Gareth, Diamond, Neil, and whoever else feels like being in on the call about the Earth's dynamo. Anyway, that's all in the works, and we will be back to live streaming, by the way, folks. It's the kinks are almost worked out. 10.7 centimeter radio flux is currently at 70. So solar minimum conditions, but not like it was when it was at 64. Ghost magnetometer is finally looking a little bit smooth as we find ourselves solidly in the North Pole portion of the current sheet last I checked. Let's check again. Here's my reaction video. That was my Macaulay Culkin impersonation. And I did not apply any aftershave in the making of this video. Anyway, there's the Gong 2 data. Nothing too exciting going on there. But there is a lot of exciting stuff going on in the news wires. So again, look for a second video. KP index at 0. And it's been mostly at 0 over the past 24 hours. If you want to monitor cosmic rays, as we know they tend to go up when you have KP 0 days, we've left links to that also below the video. So check that out after you're done watching the rest of the content, of which there is still plenty because we have 467 tabs open. GOES electron flux is looking pretty flatlined here, and it's at quite low levels. Relativistic electrons are low to moderate also. Let's see the ionosphere, as I haven't looked at it myself. Here's another reaction video. Actually, it's looking pretty normal, folks. A little bit charged up in the southern hemisphere. No big deal. Here's the latest image. This one coming in at 9:30 UT. Earthquake rundown. It looks like we've got a 5.9 around the Philippines. First on the list of 4+ magnitudes is a 4.9. Coming in at 11:24 yesterday at Indonesia, followed by a 4.7. Right in the same place there. Another 4.7 nearby, that one at nearly 200 kilometers depth. And then only 9 minutes later, that 5.9 striking the Philippines. So check that out. There's a little progression going on there. Next is a 4.7 at Papua New Guinea, east of those locations. And then we see a deep quake in the Atacama Desert there, western South America. It's a 4.1 magnitude, 194 kilometers depth. Next we see a 5.1 at Indonesia, 4.3 at Australia, as we have seen some quakes there over the past months. 4.9 at Indonesia. Next on the list is just after midnight UT, a 4.7 at Barbados. First time I ever reported one there. Here's a 4.7 in Indonesia. That one coming in at 132.9 kilometers depth. And last on the list came in just a couple hours ago here, a 5.1 at Japan. Looks like it's out in the ocean. And we'll do a quick zoom on that. There's the location of that quake. And man, oh man, let's keep this thing going as there's still lots of material to cover. Here's the pressure maps, courtesy windy.com. We'll let that advance. Take a sip of coffee and move on at a breakneck speed. I did not mean to put that flag down. All right. Anyway, there's where things will be in about 24 hours from making this video. And the current time is 4:46 on November 19th. Come on, Windy. Give me control of my computer back. Sometimes web pages take over, and sometimes volcanoes take over, such as in the Mayan civilization. Please leave a comment if you think the Mayans were throwing babies in the volcano. Pacaya now on the list. showing some lava flow and some explosions, Strombolian-style fountaining, yada, yada, yada. Here's the whole list so far today. Mount Aso, still producing a 6,000-foot ash plume. Sakurajima, not sure on that one, not identifiable in satellite imagery. Sanjiang-Api, intermittent emissions, explosive activity, 8,000-foot ash plume. Tokono, 6,000-foot ash plume, explosive activity there. Popocatépetl exploding, also 20,000-foot ash plume. There's Pacaya. I don't see the flight alert for that one. And yes, we will be returning with the Ask a Pilot segment. I've already got some questions lined up. Fuego exploding, producing a 15,000-foot ash plume. Sangay exploding. 21,000-foot plume there. Please don't pole vault Mount Sangay down in Ecuador. Revenador dissipated. Sabancaya not identifiable in imagery, and neither is Nevados de Chilean. Please also don't build a campsite on Nevados de Chilean. Let's talk about a new study that just came out about the sulfur cycle, which is not properly understood, especially as a climate forcing variable. So not only are many, many solar forcing variables not included in climate modeling, neither is the sulfur cycle. Let me read you a clip. Shout out to Anomalous Howard. Carbonyl sulfide, OCS, is also important as its low reactivity in the atmosphere allows it to be mixed into the stratosphere, where it contributes to the formation of sulfuric acid aerosols and thus to the cooling of the Earth's atmosphere. Anyway, read the article, as the sulfur cycle is super important, not just to climate, but also to plant growth. And the good news is, folks, when volcanoes erupt, the sulfur cycle makes plants grow better. Links to this article also below the video. Milky Way Galaxy team for the win. Here's the solar system location of stuff. And there's, I don't know, there's where it'll be at some point in the future, as I've clicked the button 10 million times and gotten who knows how many actual responses, and we have no idea why. Let's talk about Orion A real quick, as it's in the news. And you see all those parallel lines? Do they look like stuff that we talk about in the atmosphere all the time? Things like Hall currents? Oh yeah, it's pretty good stuff. The process creates a compressed pocket of higher density that appears to be perpendicular to the field itself. Now they go on to say about how how it eventually reaches critical density for gravitational collapse, which is not a thing, but it's still a step in the right direction. If you want to know more about Orion A, it's one of the nearby star-birthing nebulae located in the constellation Orion. It's Orion's codpiece, and everybody knows where Orion's belt is. It's just the opposite direction of Betelgeuse. So if you go in one direction, anyway, it's the codpiece, Orion's codpiece, essentially. Here's a high-res image. And to me, it looks like what's going on there is we have one set of fields primarily pointed in one direction and one primarily pointed in the other, or the system has got dust on the one side and not dust on the other side. What say you? Please leave a comment. Here's where stuff is above my head. Let's hit refresh. Is it refreshing to know that it's 4:51? And if you're located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, where I am, you'll know where your constellations are by using in-the-sky.org sky map. We're not paid to say it, folks. Now let's talk about the local stars. This time we're going to 61 Cygni, a binary system known as the Flying Star, discovered at quite a long time ago. I don't remember the exact date. And it's got the second highest motion. And yeah, I just had a little brain collapse there. And when I say motion, I mean proper motion, as stars move in various different perspectives. This is a very important star, as it was used as parallax was used to measure this star's distance, and very precisely, all the way back in the late 1700s, early 1800s, by Giuseppe Piazzi, to pronounce it correctly. Anyway, the system's located about 11.4 light years away. Here's a little higher res image of it. We've got links to all these pages below the video, as well as this about proper motion. Again, we used parallax, I should say they used parallax hundreds of years ago, to very closely measure the distance to this star. And parallax is when you take measurements of the star over a long period of time. It works well for closer objects, as the motion around the sun creates that parallax angle, allowing you to guesstimate using basic trigonometry the distance to the star. Anyway, it's the observed changes from the relative center of mass of the solar system. So if you want to read more about that, feel free. Let's get back to some data. Here is where the lightning's striking at lightningmaps.org. Here's a US Doppler radar map. And I'm not sure if my bike ride's going to happen today, folks. What say you? I'm not so sure. It looks like it's going to be mucky, and we're planning on going off-road. So I have a feeling I'm going to be planning on going to cancel. Let's see what's going on in New York. It looks like they're getting some pretty severe storms up there. Some heavy storms, as well as some wintry mix. And it looks like some heavy wet snow probably falling there as well. And here's what's going on in the water vapor. And you see there's a big convergence going on there. High pressure system compressing and pushing up that low as it gets drawn toward it. And actually the low is looking like it's going to stagnate a little bit there until the jet stream is able to push this over to the east. And there's a zoomed out view. This value-added service brought to you by smAsho and smAsho staff at massive personal expense. Here are the jet streams in the Western world. Meridional and all over the place. Here's the east. And as you all know, we're massive entropy busters on this channel. We're trying to break the entropy, bust it, right? That's why we made the graphics this way. By the way, this is the core of the Andromeda Galaxy. I use that supermassive black hole as the graphics for entropy buster. And yeah, we recommend you be ungoogleable. Improve your life. Be ungoogleable. Are you able to be found on the Google search engine? What's that? Yes? Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? Anyway, please press like and subscribe if you enjoy the content here on YouTube. And check us out on other social media such as Minds, Gab, BitChute, and many, many more. But most importantly, check us out on Patreon, as you will occasionally get information long before everybody else. Patreon.com/smAshomash. Get the most of our powers. And understand the distinction between your and a hole in the ground, right? Anyway, we're not going to include this section in the video, as we're going to be making a second one at some point today, probably pretty early. So, but go nowhere, Smash team. And thanks for viewing, because we've got a bonus, a feature. It's back due to marginally popular demand. It's the 131 angstroms view, which is taking a long, long time to load, and it's kind of the view. And if you're wondering if I'm interested in doing the voiceover for cartoon villains, the answer is yes. So if you have access to an agent, please give him my email address, listed in the description below the video. Anyway, here's a 304 angstroms view. That's the real bonus feature, as we got to stop screwing around and get the video going. Thanks for tuning into the live stream. It's actually not a live stream, it's a live premiere. But thanks for tuning in anyway, as we try to view the stream with our viewers. Anyway, look for a second video, possibly a live stream, but more likely another produced video, if you want to call this a produced video. Lots of filamentary activity going on, folks, including one plasma plume that's starting to point toward the planet. We'll be keeping an eye on it throughout the day. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. It'll never be now again. May the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.